Hello folks, you're on the Knobby Brick channel and I'm Alex. A few weeks ago LEGO released this awesome looking middle-sized set 2022 Ford GT. Technic series in general is one of the reasons I got into the LEGO building. So I bought this one on the release day and I'm really excited to build it. Let's do it together, shall we? Okay, the set contains 1466 pieces. The set was released in March 2023 and its official price is $120 or euros. Inside the box we find a lot of medium and small plastic bags full of pieces, a thick book with building instructions and a sheet of stickers. The book contains 272 pages. I love when LEGO includes some information about the set at the beginning. I'm sure not everybody appreciates it, but I do. Even though I don't spend a lot of time reading it, these few minutes spark my interest in building the set and allow to see how the real-life model has been translated into LEGO. In this book we have 4 openings with photos, some history timeline and a couple of words from the designer. Very nice. As usual, instructions are clear and I had no issues following them. But over the course of building I found a couple of small mistakes. For example, this one. Here on the left, a pin gets inserted into the left hole of the connector piece. On the right though, it's shown inserted in the right hole. Not a big deal, but it took me a minute to wrap my head around it. As for the stickers, there are 25 of them and they are numbered accordingly. Stickers are nice. I like the colors and all the small details they add to the build. A good thing is that the base dark blue color of them matches very well with the color of pieces they are applied on. At least I cannot see a big difference and the final car model doesn't look patched. Also, it's worth to note that in general, if you find it tricky to work with stickers, you may experience some issues with the larger ones in this set. Big stickers are usually harder to put on because you need to align them correctly before the full application. And also there are a few stickers of irregular shapes that are applied on the curved surfaces. Keep that in mind. Overall, I like them, especially dual colored ones. Combination of dark blue and white looks great. Let's take a look into the pieces that we have in this set. In terms of their variety, it's a classic Technic set. Tons of short pins, long pins, axle pins, pin connectors, angle connectors, axles, beams, bushes and gears. We have a few new pieces introduced in this set for the first time. The most noticeable are these 2 headlight pieces. They have 4 pinholes on the sides and semi-transparent frosted glass texture. Most likely we'll see them in other sets later. The other 2 are these axles with ball joints or CV joints at both ends. Here CV stands for constant velocity. You can Google what that is, but in short, this joint is a type of mechanical coupling that allows the shafts to rotate freely even if the angle between them changes. See how it's used here in the rear suspension. And that new axle piece still allows wheels to rotate freely no matter if the shock absorber is in its fully compressed state or vice versa. Very cool piece, love it. I see it widely used in other Technic sets in future. And while we are talking about suspension, I think LEGO updated the shock absorber pieces themselves. They actually feel much harder than I remember in other sets. And the reason for that is these spring coils, which are much tighter now at both ends. The last new pieces that I want to mention are these fenders. They're quite large, to be specific each of them is 11 by 2 by 5 studs, and we have 4 of these pieces in total, but they are slightly different. 2 of them go with the flat top edge and used as rear fenders, and 2 others go with the rounded top and used in the front. There are some other new pieces and pieces that are not new but introduced in new colors, but to me they are less interesting and I will leave it to you to explore on your own. Now let's move on to the fun part. The building process and the features of the car. The building process is split into 5 stages, where the first 2 are mostly mechanical and the last 3 are focused on the bodywork and the final look. If you ask me, I usually enjoy building the internals of the Technic sets more than anything else. And here, the assembly of the engine, suspension and steering gave me a couple of hours of pure enjoyment. Of course, there are a few places where you need to insert multiple pins or axles into holes all at the same time, and it can be challenging, but it's not something that bothers me a lot. By the way, this set is designed for adults of 18 years old and above, so you might want to keep that in mind before buying. With that being said, the first 2 stages are awesome. During the first one we are building the engine and the rear suspension. We start with the differential mechanism that allows the wheel hubs at each end of the drive axle to rotate at different speeds independently from each other. In real life, that's needed when a car is making a turn. Then we move on to the heart of the car, which is gonna be a 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6 engine producing a whopping 660 horsepower. At least that's promised on the box. Cannot say anything about its performance here. I couldn't make a single horsepower of it, but the build is cool. Some people might say that having cylinder blocks transparent and pistons in yellow color is not very realistic, but I like it. It's not only educational, but also very satisfying to see it working as the real engine. The second stage is mostly focused on the front part of the car, starting with the front suspension and steering. It's truly enjoyable to see how all these small elements that don't make sense by themselves start working as a part of a single mechanism. Apart from all these steering arms, axles and ball joints, the two key elements here are this black rack piece and a gear, through which we can transform the rotating motion into the horizontal linear motion of a steering rack. I think it's worth mentioning here that during the build, the whole mechanism feels flimsy and unstable, and even after the major part of it was complete, I found the steering to be a bit jerky, as if something was in the way of rotating parts. But don't be worried, it gets better later and eventually goes away completely when more things are built around. After the front and rear parts of the frame are connected together, we are moving to the interior of the car. For the dashboard and instrument cluster, we use two of the most interesting stickers of the set. And of course the speedometer shows the maximum speed of the car, 216, and that is in the miles per hour. In kilometers per hour, that would be 348. And a sticker for the steering wheel. This one looks simple to put on, but in fact I found it very tricky. The reason for it is that you can't put this 2x2 black round tile with the sticker on it on the wheel as you want. As you can see, the wheel has 4 studs, so the position of this tile is kinda predefined. I actually reapplied this sticker twice to make the GT letters as horizontal as possible and aligned with the steering wheel spikes. At the end of the second stage, we add 2 sport seats. And now the interior of the car is mostly complete. As for the next 3 stages, they are all about the exterior of the car. And again, I personally would be completely satisfied even if the build ended at this point. Assembling the engine, suspension and the steering was very pleasing, so that it felt like I got everything I needed from this set. So I made a pause here and I recommend you to do the same. I don't think it makes sense to review the process of exterior building in detail, as it's pretty straightforward and you can see it all in the final result. Basically, you build a panel, you put a couple of stickers on it, and you attach it to the place where it belongs. And then you do the same for the next one. Obviously, the process can feel a bit repetitive because it's a car and its right and left sides are symmetrical, so you build all the fenders, side panels and doors twice, with minor changes. Let's take a look at the model functions. The first thing I want to check is steering. You're turning the black knob on the roof of the car to turn the wheels, and it works smoothly. No issues at all. I wish the angle that wheels turn would be a bit bigger, but that's okay. Suspension feels nice and tight. The travel distance is limited though by all the panels surrounding the wheel, but it's also fine as this car doesn't have a high clearance anyway. The car has a hood which is very small and feels nominal here. I think it's implemented this way just to make it look more like a real-life prototype. The hood is functional and you can open it to see how the steering rack works when you turn the wheels. In the backside of the car we have another panel that opens up, and it's an engine cover. Through the opening you can see the engine itself with the moving pistons and a part of the differential mechanism. That's a nice feature. Doors, by the way, is a component of the set that I'm not 100% happy with. Maybe just 92% or something. They're very cool in general, look good, open up and outwards, and that is called scissor-style doors, but they feel very flimsy when opened or even when closed. It's not surprising as each door has just 2 connection points to the body of the vehicle and they are located close to each other. I understand that the designer did his best with that mechanism and most likely there is no way around it if you really want your doors to open like that. But still, it's a bit confusing. On the other hand, the car with its doors open looks stylish and flashy. And since most likely I'm not going to play with the set a lot, but use it as a display model, I'm fine with the shaky doors. And the last functional element that we have here is the rear air wing. It looks great, and you can adjust both its angle by hand and its height using the lever from the insides of the cabin. During the second stage of the build, I thought this lever would control some simplified version of the gearbox, as it can be easily taken for the gear shifter. But no, it's actually connected to that wing. Finally, I just want to mention the overall looks and aesthetics of the model. I like it, I really do. Looks great in my opinion. And the resemblance is there. The model is not perfect, but easily recognizable. I absolutely love the color scheme of the car. Dark blue body with the white double stripe. And that's all I have to say about this set. It's a very nice LEGO set. It's not over-engineered as some other $500 Technic sets, but complicated enough for you to have a few of these satisfying aha moments when you connect two modules together that seem to be unrelated at first. The model is packed with features, sturdy, and looks great. And in the end, I think the price of $120 is fair for the building experience and the final result. Let me know what you think of it. Would you buy it? Other than that, thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!